The words hit me like a freight train on a plain old Wednesday night. Ashley sat across from me at our kitchen table, fiddling with her wedding ring while she delivered the sentence that split my life in two. I want a divorce. No warm-up. No long explanation. Just 4 words dropped while I was finishing cold leftover pizza. I set the slice down and looked at her, waiting for something more. She kept staring at the wood grain like there were instructions written there. "All right," I said, keeping my voice steady. "Can I ask why?" She launched into a polished speech about growing apart, wanting different futures, feeling unfulfilled. I have heard that speech before, from other people, and the lines all sound the same. Then she added the part that made me pay attention. "But here is the thing," she said, leaning forward a little. "I do not want us to become strangers. I think we can still be close friends after this. Really close friends. We have been together so long. It would feel strange to cut each other off completely, right?" I nodded slowly, hearing what she was really asking for. She wanted freedom to start whatever new life she had lined up, but she also wanted me around as the reliable voice on the other end of the phone, the person who could fix things, the backup name on the emergency contact line, and maybe the safety net when money got tight. "Close friends," I repeated. "What exactly does that look like to you?" Her face brightened like she had been waiting for that question. "Well, we would still be there for each other when we need support. Still help with problems. Still call each other when something important happens. Just without the marriage part." I almost laughed. That was a list of husband duties without the word husband. Instead of pointing that out, I decided to see where this went. "That sounds reasonable," I said, and I watched her shoulders drop with relief. "Friends help friends, right?" "Exactly." She looked honestly thrilled. "I am so glad you understand. I was worried you would be angry or try to fight it." "Why would I fight it? If you want a divorce, we will do a divorce. And if you want to be close friends afterward, I am open to that too." She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Thank you for being so mature about this. I knew you would get it." What she did not know was that I was already picturing what real friendship would mean. Real friends have boundaries. Real friends do not dump every crisis on each other. Real friends do not expect endless free labor, emotional or financial. During the next few weeks, while we filed the paperwork and split up what we owned, she kept circling back to that friendship idea. She talked about how nice it would be to have someone to call when the car made a strange noise. How comforting it would be to reach out when she felt overwhelmed. How great it would be to keep our connection after the marriage ended. I agreed with the words because, technically, friends do help each other. They just help each other very differently than spouses do. The divorce went smoothly. We did not have children, and after a few early fights about money years ago, we had kept our finances mostly separate. Ashley took the house because she wanted it, and, on paper, her marketing job could cover the mortgage. I moved my things out over a couple of weekends and stayed with my brother, Tom, while I figured out my next step. The whole time she repeated that this was a transition, not an ending. Our friendship, she said, would be better than our marriage because there would be no pressure and no expectations. "We will both be happier," she said, as I loaded the last box into my truck. "You will see. This is going to work out great for both of us." I nodded and gave her a quick hug goodbye. I am sure it will. And I meant it, because I had a strong feeling she was about to get exactly what she asked for. 3 days after I officially moved out, my phone rang at 9 o'clock in the evening. Her name lit the screen. I let it buzz twice and then picked up. "Hey, what is going on?" "Oh my God, I am so glad you answered," she said, and I could hear the stress. "The garbage disposal is making a horrible, grinding noise. I think it is broken. I tried looking it up, but the instructions are confusing. Can you come take a look?" I paused and let it settle in. "Tonight?" she pressed. "I cannot use the kitchen sink until it is fixed, and I have a big presentation tomorrow, so I really need it sorted out tonight." I said, thinking it through. "That does sound frustrating. Have you tried calling a plumber?" Silence on the line. "A plumber for something this simple? That would cost about $200. "Probably," I said. "But that is what people usually do when the garbage disposal breaks." "But you know how to fix it," Ashley said. "You fixed it before." "I did, back when I was your husband," I said. "Now we are friends, remember?" I could almost hear the gears turning in her head. "But friends help each other with things like this," she said. "Absolutely," I said. "And as your friend, my advice is to call a professional. Or ask another friend who knows about garbage disposals. I am sure someone in your circle has dealt with it. Silence stretched on the line. So you are not coming over? She asked. Not tonight, I said. I have plans. It was true. My plans were a cold beer and a show on Netflix, but plans are plans. Oh, all right. I guess I will figure something out. I am sure you will, I said. Good luck with your presentation tomorrow. I hung up, smiling a little. The friendship era had officially begun. The garbage disposal was only the first test. During the next 2 weeks, I got a full lesson in what Ashley thought friendship meant. First came the smoke detector. The battery died at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it started chirping. Instead of waiting until daylight like most people, she called me. I cannot sleep with this thing going off every 30 seconds, she whispered into the phone. Can you just come over and fix it? It will take you 2 minutes. I sat up in bed. Here is a wild idea, I said. Pop the battery out and handle it in the morning. I do not know how to take it out without breaking it, she said. YouTube exists, I said. Or knock on a neighbor's door. Did you not tell me that Mrs. Johnson is always up late watching her shows? I cannot bother Mrs. Johnson at this hour, she said. But I can bother you. That seemed to surprise her. Well, yes, because we are friends. Friends help each other. Friends also respect sleep schedules, I said. I will text you a video link that explains how to change the battery. I sent the link and put my phone face down. 20 minutes later, the chirping stopped. She managed just fine. Next came the car. Her check engine light came on at lunch, and she called in a panic. What if it is something serious? What if the engine explodes while I am driving? Engines do not explode because a check engine light comes on, I said, trying not to laugh. When was your last oil change? I do not know. A while. How long is a while? Maybe 6 months. I whistled. Then you likely need an oil change, and maybe a tune-up. Can you take it to the shop for me? I hate talking to mechanics. They always try to upsell women. I am at work, I said. After work then? After work I have plans, I said. But I can recommend a good shop that treats everyone fairly. They will not care if you are male or female. Another long pause. You are really not going to help me with this? I am helping you by giving you the name of a trustworthy mechanic, I said. That is what friends do. They share information and resources. She made a frustrated sound. Fine. Whatever. I will handle it. Great, I said. Let me know how it goes. The same pattern kept showing up. She needed help moving furniture, but I was busy that weekend. She wanted me to review her resume because she was thinking about changing jobs. I suggested a professional service. She had a clogged drain and assumed I would show up with a plumber's snake. Each time I politely declined and offered a reasonable alternative. Each time she sounded honestly shocked that I was not dropping everything to fix her problem. The breaking point landed on a Friday night. I was having dinner with my brother, Tom, when my phone buzzed. I let it roll to voicemail. It buzzed again and again. You should probably answer, Tom said, watching my screen light up. I checked it. 7 missed calls from Ashley. I called back, wondering if it was a real emergency. I have been trying to reach you for an hour, she shouted. I locked myself out of the house, and I do not know what to do. I waited for the rest. That was the whole crisis. Okay, I said. Did you call a locksmith? A locksmith? Do you know how much that costs? Probably less than you think. There are 24-hour services, I said. Do you have a spare key? I did have one. I had forgotten to return it after the move. I do have a spare key, I said. So can you come let me in? She asked. I am sitting on the front porch. It is cold. I need to get inside. I looked at Tom. He tried not to listen, but he heard every word. Have you tried the locksmith route yet? I asked. I called one place. They said $200 in about an hour. So you will be inside in an hour for $200, I said. That is ridiculous. You could be here in 20 minutes for free. I could, I said, but I am not going to. Silence. Heavy, offended silence. Excuse me, she said. You wanted to be friends, I said. Friends do not expect each other to drop everything and drive across town to handle problems that already have reasonable solutions. Friends do not expect each other to be personal emergency services, I said. But this is different, Ashley insisted. This is a real emergency. Being locked out is inconvenient, not life or death, I said. You are not hurt. You are not in danger. You just have to decide if $180 to $200 is worth not sitting on your porch for an hour. Her breathing got heavier. I cannot believe you are doing this to me. I am not doing anything to you, I said. I am being your friend. A real friend treats you like a capable adult who can handle her own stuff. This is not what friendship looks like, she snapped. Actually, it is exactly what friendship looks like, I said. Friends have boundaries. Friends do not demand unlimited free help. Friends respect each other's time and plans. She hung up. Tom raised his eyebrows from across the booth. That sounded intense. She is learning that divorce comes with consequences, I said. Think she will figure it out? Eventually, I said, lifting my burger. Or she will run out of emergencies. Either way works. An hour later, a text came in. Locksmith came. $180. Thanks for nothing. I texted back, glad you got inside safely. See, you handled it just fine. No reply. The real test of our friendship arrived 6 weeks after the divorce was final. I was enjoying a quiet Saturday morning when my phone buzzed with a message that almost made me spill my coffee. Emergency. Need to talk as soon as possible. Can you come over? Against my better judgment, I drove over. When I stepped into the house that used to be ours, Ashley sat at the kitchen table, surrounded by paperwork. She looked like she had not slept in days. Thank God you are here, she said, jumping up to hug me. I did not hug back. I am in real trouble. I sat down, noticing the past due stamps on several envelopes. What kind of trouble? The mortgage is due Monday, she said. I am short. How short? She stared at her hands. $800. I leaned back. $800 is not pocket change, but it is not the end of the world either. What happened? The car repairs cost more than I expected, she said. Then the washing machine died, so I replaced it. And I had to pay for a work conference up front. I will be reimbursed next month. I nodded. The math was simple. A string of poor choices and bad timing, now handed to me like a bill. So what is your plan? I asked. I was hoping you could help me, she said. Just this once. I will pay you back as soon as the reimbursement comes through. There it was. The real reason she wanted close friends. The safety net. You want me to loan you $800, I said. I know it is a lot, she said, but I am stuck. If I miss the payment, they can start foreclosure. I could lose the house. I watched her face, looking for any sign she caught the irony. Let me see if I have this right, I said. You divorced me, kept the house, and now you want me to help pay for it. It is not like that, she said quickly. This is just temporary. I can afford the payments normally. Can you? I asked. Because if you are $800 short after 2 months on your own, maybe this house is not actually affordable for you. Her cheeks flushed. I can afford it. I just had unexpected expenses. And when the next unexpected expense shows up, then what? I asked. That will not happen again. I almost laughed. Come on. Life is a parade of unexpected expenses. The water heater dies. The roof leaks. Taxes go up. That is home ownership. She gripped the edge of the table. So you are saying you will not help me? I am saying friends do not make each other's mortgage payments, I said. That is a spouse thing. But this is an emergency. No, I said. This is poor planning. An emergency is a tree through the roof. This is ordinary adult life. She stared like I had grown a second head. I cannot believe how cold you are being. I am not cold, I said. I am realistic. You wanted independence. You wanted to run your own life. This is what that looks like. So you are just going to let me lose the house? I am not letting you do anything, I said. You are making your own choices. If you lose the house, that is one of those choices. Tears came, like clockwork. Please, she said, voice shaking. I am begging you. I will do anything. You could sell the house, I said. What? Sell the house, I repeated. Downsize to something you can actually afford. Problem solved. I am not selling our house, she said. It is not our house, I said. It is yours. And if you cannot afford it, you need to make different choices. She wiped her eyes and stared at me with anger and fear. What happened to you? You used to care about me. I do care, I said. That is why I am not enabling bad decisions. Enabling? She said. This is one payment. This is one payment this time, I said. What about next time? And the time after that? How many mortgage payments do I cover before you admit you are living beyond your means? She did not have an answer. I stood up to leave. Here is some friendly advice, I said. Call your mortgage company and explain the situation. They might offer a short-term plan. Or call your parents. Or take out a small personal loan. Those are normal steps people take when money is tight. My parents already think the divorce was a mistake. I cannot ask them for money. Then maybe consider that they might be right, I said, heading for the door. Wait, she said, following me. What if I paid you interest, like a real loan? What if you acted like the independent adult you said you wanted to be? I asked. This is not fair. Fair, I said. You wanted out. You wanted to be on your own. You got exactly that. The fact that it is harder than you expected does not make it my responsibility. But we are friends. Friends do not pay each other's mortgages. Friends respect boundaries. I walked to my car while she stood in the doorway, still crying. Part of me felt bad. A larger part knew this was necessary. Actions have consequences, and divorce means actually being divorced. On Monday evening she texted, "Found another solution. No thanks to you." I replied, "Good to hear. That is what friends do. They figure things out." I never learned the details, but 3 weeks later I drove past the house and saw a "for rent" sign in the yard. Looked like she decided to get a roommate and rent out the place to cover the payment. Honestly, that was a smart call. I was proud she solved it herself. That is what real friendship is, believing the other person can handle their own life. Life throws curveballs when you're not looking. 3 months after the mortgage conversation, I was at my cousin's birthday at a sports bar when I spotted a familiar face alone near the counter. It was Lauren, Ashley's best friend. We had met plenty of times during the marriage, but we had never really talked. Ashley always controlled the conversation. I debated walking over. Things had been peacefully quiet with Ashley, and I did not want to stir anything up. But Lauren looked like she needed a friendly face. "Mind if I sit?" I asked, gesturing to the empty stool. She looked up, surprised. "Oh, hey, yes, sure. You look like you are having as much fun as I am," I said, ordering a beer. She laughed, and I realized I had never actually heard her laugh before. It was warm and real. "That obvious, huh? Let me guess, blind date gone wrong." "Worse," she said. "Mandatory networking. My boss thought it would help me schmooze with potential clients." She waved at the room, full of people watching the game and absolutely not discussing business. Turns out nobody wants to talk about graphic design over buffalo wings. "Graphic design? That is cool. What do you work on?" "Mostly corporate websites and marketing materials," she said. "Not glamorous, but it pays the bills." We fell into an easy rhythm. She was funny and sharp, with clear opinions about the terrible referee calls and the best taco spots in town. I found myself enjoying the conversation, which surprised me. I had assumed she would be just like Ashley. "Can I ask you something?" she said after an hour. "Sure. How are you holding up with everything?" "Better than I expected," I said. Honestly, the divorce was the right move. She nodded. "I figured you might say that." "What do you mean?" "Nothing harsh," she said. "It is just that Ashley complained about you a lot, and the things she criticized were actually positives. That got my attention. Such as, she said you were too practical, too focused on boring things like budgets and savings, too unwilling to be spontaneous." "Those sound like complaints," I said. "They do," she said. "Until you watch someone scramble to pay rent because they spent the mortgage money on a spontaneous weekend trip to Las Vegas." I nearly choked on my beer. She did that last month. Posted photos everywhere about living her best life. Then called me crying about the car payment. "Did you help her?" I asked. Lauren shook her head. "No. I told her to call the bank and set up a plan. I am not in the business of enabling bad choices." I stared at her. That is exactly what I told her about the mortgage. "Great minds," she said, smiling. We talked until the bar started to close. I walked her to her car, and she turned to me before getting in. "This might sound odd," she said, "but I always wondered what you were actually like. She talked about you constantly, but I never felt like I was getting the real picture." "What picture did you get?" I asked. "Honestly, she made you sound boring and controlling," she said. "But you are neither." "Thanks," I said. "It is a compliment," she said, and then she drove off into the night. Lauren paused, like she was weighing something. "Would you want to grab coffee sometime?" I promised there will be no talk about Ashley, no drama. Just coffee. I thought about it for 2 seconds. I would like that. We swapped numbers. She drove off, and I stood there with a smile I could not explain. 2 days later, we met at a cafe downtown. A quick cup turned into 3 hours of talking about everything except my ex-wife. Lauren was passionate about her work, well-traveled, and she had a dry sense of humor that caught me off guard in a good way. "So what is your story?" I asked as we walked the blocks around the square after we finished our drinks. "How did you end up in graphic design?" "Pure accident," she said. I started college as pre-medicine, but chemistry kept beating me up. My roommate was an art major and dared me to take a design class as an elective. Turns out I am better at making things look right than I am at memorizing the periodic table. Do you miss the medical track? Sometimes, she said. But I like building something from nothing. There is a real satisfaction in starting with a blank screen and ending with a thing that helps a company do better. Dinner followed, then a pair of drinks. By the time I walked her to her car, it was close to midnight. This was really nice, she said, and I believed her. It was. We should do it again. I would like that, she said. Driving home, it hit me that I had not thought about Ashley once all evening. That felt important. Over the next few weeks, we fell into a rhythm. Coffee dates became dinners, and dinners turned into weekend plans. She showed me art galleries and farmers markets. I took her on trail hikes and taught her the basics of pool. The differences between her and Ashley showed up in small, steady ways. Lauren paid for her own meals without ceremony. She arrived when she said she would. Minor hassles did not turn into big storms. Most of all, she treated me like a partner, not a personal assistant. You know, Lauren said one evening as we walked through a park near her apartment, I owe you an apology. For what? For not seeing what was going on in your marriage, she said. I knew she could be demanding, but I did not realize how far it had gone. It was not your job to fix my marriage, I said. No, but I was supposed to be her friend. Real friends tell the truth when someone is messing up. I stopped and looked at her. Why did you not say anything? Because I was a coward, she said. It was easier to listen to complaints than to say she was being unreasonable. Watching the way she handled the divorce made me realize I should have spoken up. What do you mean? She expected you to keep solving her problems even after she divorced you, Lauren said. That is not friendship. That is not how anything works. I smiled. That is exactly what I kept telling her. For what it is worth, she said, you handled it the right way. You gave her exactly what she asked for. Driving home that night, I realized that coffee with an acquaintance had turned into something I did not expect to find again. Something simple, real, and good. Ashley still did not know Lauren and I were spending time together. I had a feeling that would change soon. It did, on a Saturday afternoon, in the most ordinary place possible. We were at Target, going back and forth about which coffee maker made the most sense, when a sharp gasp came from the next aisle. What is this supposed to be? I knew that voice. Ashley stood at the end of the aisle, basket of cleaning supplies in her hands, staring like she had walked into a crime scene. Her face had the look of someone who realized the ground had moved without her say-so. Hey, I said, keeping my hand in Lauren's. How are you? How am I? She shot back, voice climbing. How am I? You are here with her. Lauren squeezed my hand and stayed quiet. We both knew this moment would show up eventually. We are buying a coffee maker, I said, gesturing to the wall of machines. What brings you here? Do not act like this is normal. Her eyes flicked between us, clocking the easy way we stood together. How long has this been going on? How long has what been going on? I asked. This, she said, waving at us with a frantic little spin of her wrist. About 2 months, Lauren said calmly. And I have not been your best friend for quite a while. Ashley froze. What is that supposed to mean? It means friendship works both ways, Lauren said. You called me when you needed something. You never asked how I was doing. Every talk was your crisis, not a conversation. I was going through a divorce, Ashley said. That was 6 months ago, Lauren said. And even before that, it was one-sided. I watched them talk like I was seeing a play I had heard about but never witnessed. Lauren spoke in simple facts. No heat, no theatrics, just plain honesty. I cannot believe you are dating my ex-husband, Ashley said, her volume rising. That is basic girl code. You do not date your friend's ex. Former friend, Lauren said. And that code does not apply when the friend treated her husband and her friends like on-call assistants. That is not what I did, Ashley snapped. When is the last time you asked me about my work or my family or anything that was not tied to solving one of your problems? Lauren asked. Ashley opened her mouth, then closed it again. No example came out. And when is the last time you called him for anything besides emergency repairs or money? Lauren continued. Because from where I stand, your version of friendship looks exactly like your version of marriage. Other people exist to make your life easier. That is not fair. Neither is expecting people to drop everything for you while you offer nothing back, Lauren said. I stepped in before it spun any further. This does not have to be a scene. We are adults. Adults do not date their ex-wife's best friend behind her back, Ashley said, turning on me. We were not sneaking, I said. We simply did not make an announcement. You and I are divorced. You said you wanted to be friends. Friends respect each other's choices. This is different, and you know it, she shot back. She knows private things about our marriage. Lauren gave a small, dry laugh. Like what? That you expected him to fix every problem while you complained that he was too practical? Or that you spent money you did not have and got angry when he pointed out the math? Ashley glared at me. You told her our private conversations? Actually, no, Lauren said. I put it together from listening to you complain about him for 2 years. This was not the outcome Ashley expected. She must have pictured guilt and apologies. Instead, she got 2 people comparing notes. I need to talk to you, Ashley said to Lauren. Alone. We can talk right here, Lauren said. This is private. No, Lauren said, calm as ever. You made it public by confronting us in the middle of Target. Ashley glanced around and finally noticed the curious shoppers. Fine, but this conversation is not over. Actually, it is, Lauren said. I am done pretending your problems are everyone else's responsibility. I am done listening to you complain about consequences you created. And I am definitely done feeling guilty for being happy with someone who treats me like a partner instead of unpaid help. So that is it. You are choosing him over our friendship? I am choosing myself over your drama, Lauren said. There is a difference. Ashley turned to me with pleading eyes. And you are fine with this? With dating someone who should have been loyal to me? I am fine dating someone honest and supportive who does not expect me to solve every problem, I said. Someone who wants to be with me, not with what I can do for her. That is not what I wanted. Then explain why, right after the divorce, your friendship meant calls for repairs and money, I said. That is not friendship. That is keeping the benefits of a husband without the commitment. She looked at both of us as if we had betrayed her at the core. I cannot believe this is happening. What is happening, Lauren said, is that 2 people who were tired of your selfishness found each other and discovered they are a good match. That is not conspiracy. That is life. You were supposed to be my friend, Ashley said to Lauren. I was, Lauren said, until I realized that meant being your unpaid therapist and occasional cash machine. That is not friendship. That is exploitation. Ashley's face crumpled. For a second, I almost felt sorry. Then I remembered all the times she steered situations to get what she wanted, and the feeling passed. This is not over, she said, backing away. Friends do not do this to each other. You are right, Lauren called after her. They do not. That is why we are not friends anymore. We watched her storm out, leaving a basket of cleaning supplies in the aisle. Well, I said after a quiet beat. That went better than I expected. Really? Yes. I thought she would make a bigger scene. Lauren laughed and picked up the coffee maker we had been comparing. Give it time. I think the real drama is just getting started. She was right. But for the first time in years, I felt ready for whatever came next. Because now I had someone at my side who understood that, like marriage, friendship works only when both people carry their share, not when one person makes all the demands and sets none of the boundaries. The final confrontation came 2 weeks later. I was expecting it. Ashley showed up on a Thursday evening dressed like she was headed to an interview. Hair perfect, makeup set, and wearing the dress she knew I used to like. She stepped past me into the living room without waiting. We need to talk, she said. About what? About us. About this mistake we both made. I closed the door and leaned against it. Which mistake is that? This whole divorce, she said. This so-called friendship. It is not working. It is working fine for me. She turned with her most serious face. I have been thinking about what went wrong. I made mistakes. I was probably too demanding sometimes. Sometimes. She sighed. All right. A lot of the time. But people can change. I can change. Why now? Because I miss you, she said. I miss us. I miss having someone who truly cares. I almost laughed. You mean you miss having someone who fixes your problems at no cost? That is not what this is about. Then what is it about? She took a step closer. It is about realizing that what we had was special. I threw away something good because I thought I wanted independence. But independence feels like loneliness with extra bills. And what about her? I nodded toward the kitchen, where Lauren was making dinner. What about her? Ashley said. She used you to get back at me. That is not true. I said. Of course it is. What are the odds my best friend just happened to fall for my ex-husband? She planned it. Lauren appeared in the doorway, drying her hands on a dish towel. Actually, I did not plan anything, she said. I recognized a good man when I saw one. This is none of your business, Ashley snapped. It became my business when you came into our home uninvited, Lauren said. Our home? Ashley barked. This is not your home. It is now, Lauren said. Ashley looked between us, finally realizing this was not casual. You moved in together. Last week, I said. Living with someone who does not treat me like hired help is surprisingly easy. Her face crumpled. We could try again, she said. We could go to counseling. We can work on our problems. What problems? I asked. I do not have any problems. My life has been good since the divorce. That is not true, she said. It absolutely is, I said. I sleep better. I am less stressed. I enjoy coming home. I have more money because I am not constantly rescuing someone from financial messes she created. I would pay you back for all of that, she said. With what? I asked. You are renting out your house and living with a roommate. She had nothing to say. Here is the truth, I continued. You got exactly what you wanted. You wanted a divorce, so we divorced. You said you wanted to remain friends, so I behaved like a friend. I gave advice when you asked. I respected your independence. I treated you the same way I treat any other friend. Friends help each other, she said. They do, within reason, I said. They do not cover each other's mortgages. They do not drop everything for non-emergencies. Lauren stepped forward. And real friends do not show up at an ex's house to break up his new relationship. I am not trying to break up anything, Ashley said. I am trying to fix what we broke. There is nothing to fix, I said, steady. We are not broken. We are divorced on purpose. Your purpose? People make mistakes, she said. You are right, I said. Your mistake was believing you could keep all the benefits of a husband without any commitment. You wanted independence until independence meant taking care of yourself. Tears started, and I felt no pull to comfort her. So that is it, she said. You are going to throw away 12 years. I did not throw anything away, I said. You did when you decided you wanted something different. I was wrong, she whispered. Maybe, I said. But that does not make it my job to fix. She turned toward Lauren, eyes sharp. I hope you are happy. You destroyed a marriage. I did not destroy anything, Lauren said. You destroyed your own marriage by treating your husband like an employee instead of a partner. Ashley faced me one last time. Is this really what you want? Some rebound with my leftovers? That was the wrong line. First, I said, voice cold. She is not your leftovers. She is not yours at all. You threw away her friendship the same way you threw away our marriage. Second, this is not a rebound. This is what a healthy relationship looks like. You would not recognize it because you have never been in one. Get out, Lauren said quietly to Ashley. Now. Ashley looked around the room like she was seeing it for the first time. This is actually happening, she said. You are choosing her over me. I am choosing peace over chaos, I said. Partnership over servitude. Someone who wants to be with me, not someone who wants me to be a full-time problem solver. She walked to the door and turned. You will regret this. The only thing I regret is not doing it sooner, I said. After she left, Lauren and I stood in the quiet living room. Do you think she will try again? She asked. Probably, I said. But it will not matter. Why not? I pulled her close and smiled. Because I finally learned the difference between being needed and being wanted. I will choose being wanted. 6 months later, mutual friends said Ashley had moved back in with her parents. The house was gone to foreclosure. The roommate plan did not work out. I felt sorry for her the way any person feels sorry for someone facing hard times. But I did not feel responsible for fixing it. That is what real friendship looks like. Caring without control, support without enabling. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let a person face the results of their choices. Even if that person used to be your wife.